So I forgot to say the beforehand, but we've just finished watching Life. What do you think?
It was all good. It was very good. I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah. No, that's scary.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, it was.
Very, very interesting though. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Yes. The overall story of the 2017 film Life isn't really trying to say much. It's basically a worst case scenario. What we could gather from it then is to not do whatever the main characters or any characters in the film did. That's tough because almost everything they did seemed to be the absolute best thing to do. What we can infer from this then is that evil, or at least a stronger being than us, will always overpower us. Politically, socially, environmentally, this has implications, but religiously, if we take the metaphor inside Christian belief, it says that the devil will always win. This seems like a straight out lie, but it is partially true. If left unchecked, the devil would conquer and destroy the entire universe. We are absolutely powerless against him without God. God is the only one who can overthrow the devil, and he has overthrown the devil in the world, and he has overthrown the devil in every Christian heart. We don't need to be afraid of him creeping in again. This doesn't mean that we neglect doing good works or stop watching and praying that we don't fall into temptation. But Satan can't overpower us anymore. What this film Life reminds us is that he would, if God weren't in the picture. Also, I just want to say a little thing about the importance of life, and killing this creature, this Martian, is worth it. Like, human life is far more valuable than a monstrous life. The next point contains a big spoiler. The little side philosophical question that this film proposes to us is it right or wrong to sacrifice a few for the sake of many without the few's consent? The way around this question is to say, no, it's wrong, but in this situation, the space companies didn't want to tell the team because if the team pulled out, then they'd have to send them home and then train up new guys and then send them along, and that would cost millions of billions of dollars or whatever. And that specific situation is just greed and sloth. Also, not telling the crew created the problem with this type of solution in the first place. If you remember, one of the crew members' show misinterprets this third firewall as a rescue pod. And this intervention with the third firewall defeats the purpose of having it. This indicates that a nice lie is more harmful than a dangerous truth. Discarding the specifics though, is it right to sacrifice few for the sake of many? Humanitarian me would say, yeah, even if they didn't want to. It's like collateral damage. It happens. Looking at morals though, if we are to imitate Christ and Christ is God, what God does is gives choice. In the Garden of Eden, God gave humans the ability and therefore the choice to break his rules by giving them something they shouldn't do. In the Exodus story, Pharaoh chose to harden his own heart many times before God decided to use Pharaoh as a pawn to glorify himself. And Jesus himself, the ultimate sacrifice, knew what he was getting into from the start. We see in the garden that he didn't want it, but he was willing to take it if it was God's will. God gives choice. So should we. If it comes down to a person not wanting to sacrifice themselves for the sake of many, even if it means everybody else will die, you could probably convince them otherwise, but we would still have to honour their choice. If a Christian was in that position, it raises a different question. Are you willing to sacrifice everything? Your life, your wealth, your happiness, for the good of many? Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can like it. If you loved it, you can share it. And let me know down below in the comments what you thought of any of the topics I brought up, and also what you thought of life. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more movies studied through a Christian lens.